On February 27, 2015, I woke up to the news of suicide of a young man in Jhansi. One among several such news stories that I've been waking up to in the last 3 years. I would usually find these news stories only in regional newspapers because this, and whatever I would talk about today, rarely makes a national headline or a breaking news. So I inquired about this case and got to know about Aadesh Yadav, a young, bright, energetic, hard-working bank employee, a middle-class man with big dreams of marriage, spending life with his soulmate like all of us do. Unfortunately, marriage became the biggest mistake of his life and also the reason for his death. In a 3.5-page suicide note, Aadesh shares how he and his entire family were implicated in a false dowry case. His wife demanded that his father's property be transferred in her name to settle the matter. When they refused, she filed a molestation case on his brother and father. His father suffered a heart attack. Just few days later, Aadesh hanged himself. I would share a few lines from his suicide note. To all, I request you to save my family from this unexpected problem. To the National Human Rights Commission, to the National Commission for Women, please investigate if I or my family was wrong ever. How can the law be so biased that it turns a man into a criminal merely on statement of a woman? I thought a lot, but found no option. Mummy, Papa, I'm sorry. Please don't cry, as it would hurt me more. You may not know, but Aadesh is one among several men in India who are killing themselves because of domestic violence, false cases of dowry, demands of huge sums of money to settle these matters, leaving no option but a suicide note to reclaim their innocence. To put it in perspective, he suffered misuse of Section 498A of the Indian Penal Code, commonly known as the Anti-Dowry Act. You don't need to ask for dowry to be implicated in a dowry case. If this was a woman, this death would have perhaps been called a dowry death by law. But unnatural deaths of husbands are not recognized under the law, and thus we do not have any statistics. On June 2012, news of Amity gang rape case broke in New Delhi. Prashant Sablani, Milan Kapoor were accused of gang raping their own friend. In March 2015, a Delhi court honorably acquitted both these boys, observing that the parents of the woman pushed her into implicating the accused because they did not like that she got drunk with Prashant on day of the alleged crime. Though there was no evidence whatsoever to the allegations, even the place of crime being imaginary, Prashant and Milan spent a harrowing 14 months in Tihar jail and underwent a criminal trial for 2.5 years, despite having every proof of innocence. Their bail was constantly denied, perhaps because at that time, India was reeling under the aftermaths of the horrifying Nirbhaya gang rape case, and innocence did not matter if you were a man and an accused. No action has been taken against the false accusers in this case or in several cases in India that are happening today. I met Milan's mother. She is a widow. She spent her life's saving in fighting the case for her son, though he was not at fault. She is a woman. Whenever a woman is abused, we ask, what if she was your sister? What if she was your mother? Today, I want to ask you all, what if Aadesh was your brother and you saw him dying every day and eventually dead? He was not at mistake. What if Prashant or Milind were your son, your brother, or just a friend? And no matter how much you cried of their innocence, with evidential proof, you would not be heard. Laws have been made for protection of women. Should be. What about a law that serves as a deterrent so that these laws are not misused? Justice should be served to women. But what about justice to those who are implicated in false cases, their lives ruined, their careers lost, their self-respect, dignity, status shattered? Asking money for dowry is wrong. But is asking money after filing a false case fine, all right? How is abuse of these provisions that have been made for a purpose helping the cause of women? In Sushil Kumar versus Union of India, on misuse of 498A, Supreme Court said, by misuse of these provisions, a new legal terrorism can be unleashed. The law was made to serve as a shield and not assassin's weapon. If the cry of wolf is made too often as a prank, assistance might not be available when the actual wolf appears. Parting away comments in a false rape case filed by a woman in Delhi, Justice Virender Bhatt said, false rape cases play havoc with crime statistics, shoot up the crime graph, and tend to trivialize the offense of rape. These words in all these quotes are from esteemed courts in India, esteemed people. A lot of people misunderstand my work as that which is against women. It is not. It is against injustice. I have suffered as a woman when I was a sister, when I was a daughter, and I've seen death very closely. You know, in times when we are talking about gender equality, in times when we are talking about laws that should be made for everybody, though I am a woman and I connect with pain of women, I also connect with pain of men, a gender that's not supposed to cry. वो कहते हैं ना कि लड़के रोते नहीं हैं. A gender which is not supposed to share their sufferings or ordeals. And I chose to talk about men because when we are talking about laws, when we are talking about equality, when our constitution says that nobody should be discriminated upon on basis of caste, creed, religion, and gender, we have laws where a wife can file a criminal case of mental or physical cruelty, but a husband can't. We have law of domestic violence where a woman can seek protection, citing physical, mental, emotional, financial, sexual, or verbal abuse, but a man can't. We have laws of adultery that immunes a married woman from any criminal prosecution, so a husband cannot do anything in that situation. All that a married man can do today is file a case of divorce on grounds of cruelty, and even when he does that, no matter how much he is tortured or abused, or he is on the verge of committing suicide, when he does file a case of divorce, he can get several criminal cases on him, so he turns from a victim to a perpetrator. We have laws for rape, sexual harassment at workplace, word, gesture, or act that insults the dignity of a woman, but these laws do not consider men as victims. There are several cases that I have come across now where if a man breaks up from a relationship, a woman can go ahead and file a case of rape and promise of marriage, whether a promise was made or not made. But if a woman breaks up from a relationship, a man is expected to just move on. When I became open to and aware to this injustice that is happening, when I got to know that while we have several government helplines for everybody, but not for men. So what is happening these days is men who are in distress end up calling up women's helpline, and they do not have any support for them. There are several reports to that account now that have come in newspapers. Some say that 24% of those calls are on women helpline are for men. The only privately run helpline for men, CIF1, gets thousands of calls every month. And all that the counselors can do is provide emotional support, because there aren't any laws and there isn't any protection. So when I became aware to this injustice, I thought that I would not be silent and speak up. And that is when I decided to start a project called Martyrs of Marriage. It's a documentary film that shares stories of those who have fought, who are fighting, who have won, and some who have succumbed to the most unexpected battle of their life called marriage. Here's a small trailer of that film.
मेरी लाइफ में कुछ भी अच्छा या बुरा होता है, मेरा हाथ अपने आप फोन पे जाता है, फिर मुझे याद आता है कि वो he is not there. He was more than a brother to me.
It was 9:15 in the night when we were arrested.
I was sent to jail without even being asked a single question.
उसको अंदाजा भी नहीं था कि एक फैमिली इशू इतना बड़ा क्राइम बन जाएगा.
कभी-कभी सोचते हैं बेटा पैदा करना ये क्राइम हो गया.
These provisions of IPC not only being misused, but they are grossly misused.
This is a tool which is being used only to extort money, to make a better deal from the marriage.
If after many years we notice that the law is being grossly abused, whether it is 498A or whether it is even 376 or whatever, it is incumbent upon a responsive government to rise up to the challenge and to address the problem.
Just like you don't need to be a woman to fight for women, you don't need to be a man to fight for men. A lot of men in past and today have taken a stand against injustice on women. I have taken a stand against injustice on men. My belief, true equality, equality where everyone has a voice, be it woman or a man, and everyone is heard, be it a woman or a man. Thank you.